What's up, guys? Nintendo Nick here, and welcome to a review on The Wonderful 101. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I doing a review and why am I doing it on a game that's almost 5 years old? Well, mainly because I wanted to start doing more reviews on this channel. I know the last one I did was Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix a while ago, but I want to start doing more reviews on this channel. And second is because I recently played The Wonderful 101, and it is a great game, and I want to show you guys how great this game really is. So, this game, The Wonderful 101, is on the Wii U. It was made back in 2013, and it was made by Platinum Games, and those are the same game developers that made Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2. So, it's not as inappropriate as Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2. It keeps that E10 up rating. There are some instances where it's kind of inappropriate, like the introduction to Wonder Pink is a bit like soft porn, to be honest. But other than that, it still keeps its E rating, E10 up rating. Somehow, I don't really know how, but it does. But yeah, the gameplay for this game, it's very similar in my opinion to a combination of Pikmin, Beautiful Joe, and Bayonetta. Mainly because Bayonetta is made by Platinum Games, like I said, so same developer, same type of game style. So it's kind of similar to Bayonetta in an essence, where you're rated the same way as Bayonetta is, where you're rated on combos, damage, and time. And you're rated either Constellation Prize, which is the same as Stone and Bayonetta, to Bronze, to Silver, to Gold, to Platinum, and to Pure Platinum. So it's very similar in that way. Also, the fighting style, I feel like, is very similar to Bayonetta, or to your average beat 'em up. And it's very similar to also Beautiful Joe, where you also are a superhero, like in Beautiful Joe. And just the cartoony like art style is very similar to Beautiful Joe. Also, the humor and the effects are very similar to Beautiful Joe. And then it's also similar to Pikmin, where you can actually have a horde of up to 100 citizens, or 1-for-101s, and you can use them to unite into different shapes, which is how you attack. So you can either unite into a sword, you can unite into a hand, you can unite into a gun, you can unite into a hammer, a whip, like any real weapon. You can really unite into it by going on the right analog stick and drawing either a circle for like a bomb or something, or no, actually a circle for a hand, a line for a sword, a L shape for like a gun, and the list goes on. So yeah, it's really cool in that way, where you can just kind of circle around what you want to transform into, or your army to transform into, and you can attack that way. And you don't really stay into one like attack mode. Like, I know I really like the Unite Sword and I use it a lot, but sometimes you can't use it because some enemies can only be defeated by a certain weapon. So like, some enemies have spikes covered in them, and the only way to defeat that is by using Unite Whip, and to whip the spikes off of them in order to attack them. So you can't really stay to one weapon, which is pretty cool, because getting used to all the different morphs is pretty cool. And there actually are a lot of morphs. I think there's over like 30 or something like that. And it's really crazy of all the different attacks that you can do in this game, and it's really cool. Also, you can use the morphs to solve puzzles, and also get like collectibles, and I think you actually have to go backtrack sometimes to get certain collectibles. So there's a lot of replay value in this game. There's also some abilities that you can't do, but you have to buy them in the shop, and you get money from the fights that you do. And once you get enough money, you can buy different things like Unite Spring, Unite Ball, a bunch of different things that can help you out later on in the game, and it's pretty useful. Also, the fact that this is made by Platinum Games, there's actually a lot of references to like the Platinum Games symbol. Like it's really shown quite frequently in this game. Even the main giant attack robot that you use at the end of the game is actually called Platinum Robo, and it actually has the big platinum symbol right on its head. So it's kind of weird because you don't really see that in Bayonetta 1 or 2, and but for some reason it's in this game a lot, and I don't really know why, but I guess they just wanted to show off this is made by Platinum Games or something. Anyway, the story is very similar to any type of superhero. You're basically just fighting against aliens and saving the world, just like any other superhero would. So yeah, there's nothing really major. There are a bit of some plot twists here and there, but it's basically the same as any other superhero saving the world. So yeah, there's not really much to the story, but I do like the ending though. It's very touching actually. I won't really spoil anything, but it's a really cool ending and I like it a lot. Another thing that I like to mention is the boss fights in this game. Some of them are really unique, and I really like one of them. One of them is actually I think there's two of them, where it's a complete punch out game basically, where you're dodging attacks and you have that like first person perspective, like you punch out and you're dodging punches and then waiting for an opening to counter attack. It's really cool. I really like how they add that in there, because I'm a big fan of Punch Out, and seeing that boss fight is actually pretty cool. But yeah, the boss fights actually get really intense, and I really do like them. There are also some sections where it will freeze time basically, and you have to, it's kind of like a quick time event where you have to unite into a certain ability in order to move on, like to reflect the laser or to grab onto something like unite hand and other stuff like that. And the more people that you unite, the greater the bonus points that you get. And I forgot to mention that too, the more people that you have, I mean it's kind of obvious, the more power that you'll get, the bigger your attacks will be. So it's good to keep that in mind, because sometimes you'll have to have a bigger army to attack these, but it's kind of risky too, because when you get hit, all your allies are basically knocked out, and you have to kind of go by them and kind of save them again. But yeah, the way to get allies in this game, it's not really like Pikmin where you pluck people, but you actually find them kind of off the streets or in like vending machines and stuff. Like they'll pop out, like you have to put people in, and then you will get like a special wonderful one-on-one guy. But yeah, you just basically circle around them and it'll show like a little rainbow, and you can pick them up. And some of them are special, like they're the wonderful one-on-ones that are permanent to your team, and they'll come to your team for the later on, because you start off with 20 and then you'll get more wonderful one-on-ones later on. And I think there's obviously 80 because it's a wonderful 101, or I guess 81, I guess you could say. But yeah, actually this game is supposed to be the wonderful 100, but in the end they reunite with a person that makes it the wonderful 101, which I really like. It adds some uniqueness to the title. But yeah, this game is actually, I thought it was a bit short, but looking back at it, it's actually quite long. I thought it was short because I just had, I guess, so much fun, but time actually went by pretty fast, and some of the levels actually can be, they look short because they're kind of split up into sections, but and you kind of think that the boss fight just is the level, but it's actually a lot more than I thought. And to be honest, I actually had quite a bit of trouble to do the final boss. It took me quite a long time to do that, over like 2 hours to be honest, but that's just gameplay time. I had to like leave my system on and I couldn't really save, which I guess is an annoying fact, that the final boss is pretty long. and I didn't really have any chances to save, so I really didn't have I couldn't really like end the game or anything. But yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about. I do like the mechanics. I like the physics. It is a bit frustrating at sometimes. Like sometimes the enemies can get hard, but just like in Bayonetta, you can continue. There also are some the replay value. There are some wonderful missions, which I'm not making up like wonderful missions. They're actually called wonderful missions because this is the Wonderful 101. So there are quite a bit of wonderful missions in the game, and you can play them, and it's basically just fighting after fight, and it's pretty fun. I mean, it's mainly what the game's all about. But I also like the fact that every boss that you fight, after you fight a boss, the first level of the next area, you get a new Unite person. So you get like Unite Whip, Unite Claws, Unite Bomb, all that stuff. So it's something to look forward to, which I really like. So like after defeating a boss, you're like, oh man, I wish I could do another boss, but you're actually gonna learn a new move, which is even cooler in my opinion. And I really look forward to it. So like it even gave me more of a motivation to defeat the bosses. Also, I like the fact that in the story mode you actually see part of the past, and there's a lot of detail to the characters and their personalities. Some of the characters like Wonder Yellow, Wonder White, and Wonder Black didn't really have much personality. It was mainly Wonder Blue, Wonder Red, Wonder Green, and Wonder Pink that mainly took the stage and were the main talkers of the game. And they were the one who had the most personality and stuff. But yeah, mainly the reason that Wonder Black, he has an excuse because Wonder Black, all he does in the entire game is just play on his 3DS, which I absolutely love. Like they introduce him, he does like a couple hip hop moves, and then he just plays on his DS the entire game, which is just so funny. Like you'll see like an intense moment, and you'll see them all like in shock, and then you see Wonder Black just playing his 3DS, and it's just so funny. But yeah, I guess it does give him some personality. But some of the characters like Wonder Yellow has like very few lines, and he really doesn't have any personality to him. He like probably has only maybe a good 25 or 10 lines in the entire game, which is not really that much considering Wonder Red probably has over like 1,000 lines. But yeah, and when like I heard that this is called the Wonderful 101, I kept like guessing who the Wonderful 101 was gonna be. Like, was it gonna be like Wonder Green? Was it gonna be this guy? Or was it gonna be the captain of the ship? Was it gonna be the co-pilot or something like that? But actually ended up being a surprise to me, which I won't spoil anything, like I said, but shows up at the end of the game, and it kind of is obvious towards the end of the game, but other than that, it was a complete surprise to me. But I really like the fact that at the end of the game you actually play as the villains actually team up because there's a bigger threat, which is kind of a plot twist, I guess, because the enemy that you thought was the enemy was not the real enemy, I guess you could say. But I really like that fact, and you get to join up with two new Unite forms, which is Unite Boomerang and Unite, I think, Nagarita or something like that. I forget the name of the sword, but Impa also has it in Hyrule Warriors. But yeah, it's a really good game, and I really wish that Platinum Games makes a Wonderful 102 for the Switch or something, so that it gets more recognition, and hopefully it's even better, and maybe you can do multiplayer somehow with the two Joy-Cons. I don't really know how that would work, but it actually worked pretty well with the two Joy-Cons, because you actually have one that could maybe control the Unite while the other one just moves. So you have your separate Joy-Cons, which work pretty fine, and the combat will probably be easier because one of them is to unite, one of them is to move around. So be pretty cool. But anyway, that's basically it for actually I want to mention one more thing, which is right here. The main boss that you think is gonna be the final boss isn't really the final boss, but it's actually a really funny character, which I like because I really like my funny villains. Like Gearham's pretty funny, and some other funny villains like Dr. Nefarious. He reminds me a lot of Dr. Nefarious. Like, he calls Earth Durf, and he calls Wonder Red Wonder, I think it was, or Blunder Red, and it's pretty funny, and he always corrects him. I also like to mention the fact that the final boss is really epic. Probably one of my favorite final bosses of the entire game, or the entire I can't even speak, but it's my favorite final boss probably ever in any video game. But yeah, it's really cool, and I also like that the fact that the boss that you think, which is Vorkin, Prince Vorkin, is actually who actually joins you. It actually has the same ability to Unite Morph, and that's where you get the power of Unite Boomerang. But it's actually pretty awesome when you face against him, because it's a very even match, because you both can unite into different attacks, and you have the same basically size of army, and it's basically just fighting a twin of yourself. And Vorkin is basically Wonder Red, who's the main character's it's kind of his Dark Link, I guess you could say, or his alter ego. But yeah, Wonderful 101 is a great game. I know I kind of got off topic a little bit, but yeah, I really recommend it. If you have a Wii U, definitely get it, and hopefully Nintendo does make a Wonderful 102, because it really is a great game, and I want to see more of it. So yeah, that is my review for the Wonderful 101. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if I forgot anything, or if you agree or disagree with my review. If I had to rank it, I probably would rank it 8.5 out of 10. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for other things gaming right here on Tonic. Bye.